Lagos Traffic Radio 96.1 FM. Maritime today is the program. Quickly, the Ojo corridor, I understand, is good movement from Agbara Customs checkpoint down to Yanoira. We have moving traffic as well at Yanosashi as a result of high influx coupled with activities of the motor unions within that corridor. Movement is looking good from Afro Media down to Franklas on both the service lane and the main carriageway. We can also tell you ascending Yanoba, talking about the flyover there inwards mile 2 is good, as well as underneath the flyover bridge inwards Igondo. So we'll be serving you more helpings. And of course, if your travel experience is not what we have narrated, you can always escalate that to us by reaching out to us on 08099120777. All right, so there's a whole lot to talk about, especially as we are seeking the best ways of harnessing the potentials of the blue economy. So last year, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu created a new ministry that will cater for the maritime sector. It's called the Ministry of Marine and Blue Economy. And recently, we caught up with the former Director General of the Nigerian Maritime Agency, which is today known as NIMASA, talking about John Egesi, and we were trying to find out from him a whole lot of things about the potentials of the blue economy. Right, so I've come to the place where I'm going to be speaking with one of the great minds in the maritime sector, the former DG of the Nigerian Maritime Authority, which is today known as NIMASA, to just have a chat with him on current trends within the maritime sector. Let me just bring him to the microphone right now. Mr. John Patrick Egesi, nice to meet you. Good morning, sir.
Nice to meet you too, sir. Thank you so much.
Let's start first.
I want you to talk to me.
Great. So let's start first for the latest development. Now, sometime last year when President Bola Ahmed Tinubu took over the reins of governance, he set up a new ministry for the maritime sector. It is known today as the Marine and Blue Economy. What do you make of that ministry, by the way?
When the ministry was, I don't blame the president for setting up a place like that, because the president depends on the information given to him. But I can tell you something about the marine, the green economy.
Marine and Blue Economy.
The blue economy. While the marine, that is the maritime, is a derived demand, some aspect of the grey economy might just be not a derived demand economy. Are you getting my point?
Why do you say that?
You see, when you say blue economy, it means anything you can produce from the sea.
Right.
It includes fishing. You know fishing? You fish and you sell fish. It doesn't depend on people coming to your port. Are you getting my point? I hope that they do understand what they are talking about, because there was a lot of banding of words and it looks blue economy, it looks romantically acceptable.
Right.
But I sit down as a maritime economist. I say, I hope these people know the division between A and B. In fairness to Buhari's administration, a lot of some people in the economy called me to join the government. They call you secretly because you cannot embarrass the government. But this one, they went in with there was this blue economy. They felt that, this is a new thing. It is new to some extent. You get my point. But they must know that as it stands today, Shippers Council, NIMASA, Ports Authority, at least those ones are very obvious, are still in the maritime sector. You know what I mean? A subset, if you like. The blue economy is the totality of both the maritime and the blue economy. It's what you make of the marine, you get the blue, that is, where the word blue comes from, the blue sea.
Ocean.
What you make of it. And until you make that very, very special division, you just be using words carelessly and sometimes deceive yourself and rope yourself into things you don't quite understand.
Yeah, but do you really commend the fact that a ministry like that was set up?
If they know what they are setting up. Because if you say blue economy, yes, it isn't bad. You set up blue economy, you must know that the blue economy includes other aspects like farming in the sea, producing goods. You know what I'm saying?
All right.
It's something I wanted to give a lecture on, but you've beaten me to it. So that is just it. So when you say blue economy, the maritime sector, they can develop a blue economy within the maritime sector to puncture their confinement into derivability.
Yeah, because
I don't know whether I'm making sense.
Yes, but a lot of observers were saying before now that it would have been better for the maritime sector to have its own ministry. Perhaps that was the reason why the president decided, okay, look.
I gave the president kudos for that, real kudos. But is it still? It's not part of the Ministry of Transport?
No.
Very good.
It has been taken away from transport.
To that very extent, yes, that he did a wonderful thing there, and I give him full marks.
All right. But let's move on from there. So, from what you see beyond that time and now, those that have been given the opportunity to man those agencies within that sector, what do you think?
I know you are going to ask this, and it's a very, very sentimental and temperamental question. It's like judging people that are outside, and when you take the seat of a judge, you are saying that you are better than the people. I don't want to set up myself. That is why when I was talking to you privately, I was telling you about one of my bosses, Olabisi Akinfe, and myself, and of the setting up, the building up of National Maritime Authority. If the people in government have been referring to the old staff, you know what I mean? A director some 30 or 40 years ago, for the formation of this thing, he must know something that can help you to solve problems of the future because of the problem they encountered. What became NIMASA today was our setting up, our finding out that the 40-40-20 rules produced by Decree 10 of 1987 by Babangida wasn't working. Babangida meant well, he's a dynamic leader. Are you getting me?
Right.
But he produced something that was economic constraining. NIMASA, NMA by itself, cannot step out in the world. Each one, there was a time we were thrown out in London, in England, Liverpool and other places because of the thing. So gradually, there was an evolution. As you go on, you find that the quality of leadership is affected by the political atmosphere. Later, Babangida was full of, where are the best? You know what I'm saying? Who can get us this? In fact, when I wanted to start work, I told Dr. Ekong, who was then the Director General, I won't be ready till for about 6 weeks. I'm going on holiday in England. My family was living in England. And they had to wait. You know what I mean? Instead of scrabbling for it, are you getting what I'm saying? And believe you me, I don't know A from B. I don't know anybody. So I came back eventually. The whole place went up. I keep saying, this is Yoruba, by the way. I've been waiting for you. Look at what we have done when you left. And we started work. That was when NMA started. We start producing from C1, C2, C3. Are you getting my point? For cargo distribution, section, controller, we give them names, all the people, the things you are saying. And nobody, I once called the Director General and said, why don't you give the name of a hall to a man like Olabisi Akinfe? You know what I mean? Nobody cares. Everybody's modern. So point I'm making is that politics affect the appointment of staff. Eventually you find that the flower at the top are the appointees of these people. And I don't want to be against any politician or politics because it's too dangerous in a country that people don't like to think straight.
Yes, so, but does it really matter who heads where?
No, it does matter. It does matter a lot. It does matter.
So convince me.
Why do I need to go? Because the place you want to head is highly technical. It is highly technical. If you don't know, when I say technical, you are talking of the economics of it.
All right.
And the people, when you say economics, you are talking of the ship, the boat, or whatever. Which one will you do? I remember one day when I was director of technical services, and somebody came to me, one of my staff who was an engineer. He doesn't know my background. I studied physics. Are you getting my point? Came with a white person. They were trying to do a contract that they were trying to tell us to change certain things in the contract. And he was talking about a certain type of wire, to conduct current. I asked him, won't this one cause more friction? Any physicist will tell you that, friction, when there is friction, you have resistor until it catches fire or whatever it is. If it is broad, if it is narrow, the boy, he nearly froze. I don't know, because this is a very simple, common man's way of knowing. So it's important. If you just bring people, they have done it before many, many times, and the place did not become what it ought to be. There was this dynamism that was there when Akinfe acted as an acting Director General. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And painfully he died. Well, they painfully removed him. Of course, before he died, they've already brought people. Some of them, luckily for us at the time, the person brought was a somebody who have worked in the transport industry. He was a secretary to transport when he started in railways or so, and he was a little bit receptive. When you have a leader that is receptive and listens, yes, what we are talking about matters. It wouldn't matter. But when you come in and you give somebody tremendous power and his tendency is authoritarian, I don't want that, I want this. You know what I'm saying? Politics affect organization a lot. It affects because there's something, I don't know, I'm telling you these things. You see, when somebody is in a place and you hear that, no, we don't trust that man. In Nigerian parlance, do you know the meaning?
What does it mean?
That is, we wouldn't trust him to do what we want him to do.
Right.
If it is to make money for us, and they just yank him, because that is what power does. And power has tendency of wanting to be used. Any good sociologist will tell you that.
Right. So from what you can see, looking at all these agencies now that are within the marine and blue economy, are we really shaped? It will take some time. But all I can tell you is that when there is appointment, you look at the nature of appointments. When Buhari, I can only refer to Buhari because he's now gone. When Buhari was making his appointment, everybody begins to know that where is this man going with this appointment? Right.
The appointments of people you work with matters a lot. If you are a military man in a formation, let's say a platoon, and you bring somebody who have never done any military service to head the platoon, you get my point? He might not just, or if you're in the pilot type of formation, you get my point?
Right.
So it's often necessary for you. Your appointment shows the determination, you are objective.
Let's look at the MASA, which is the apex regulatory body in the sector, and that's where you were for several years.
Yes.
Very recently, the president appointed Dr. Dayo Mobiriola as the new Director General. He has a background in transportation.
That's very good.
Yes, but some have argued he has not really worked directly within the maritime
sector. To work in transportation, look, all transports, you know what I mean, are a derived demand transport. So his appointment, I think, make quite some sense. Are you getting my point?
Right.
That is because he has a background in transportation. I'm not talking of his doctorate. It doesn't really matter. The highest degree any human being can get is a first degree. If you know what you are doing. Are you getting me?
Right.
You can do a research degree, yes, to add the decoration if that is what you want. But point being made, that appointment makes a lot of sense. Okay. I never knew him. I never even know him. I'm just hearing it here.
He has been a specialist in transportation for several years.
Wonderful.
He was one in charge of running transport infrastructure in Lagos State for over 10 years.
Fantastic.
He later became the commissioner for transport for 4 years.
That's the sort of appointment we are talking about.
Right.
Like he's saying, you know what I mean? Somebody who knows what he will do. So if you tell him to take left when he should take right, he will tell you no, that left will not take us anywhere. You remember the principle I told you earlier? That you know where the person is going by the appointment the person makes. To bring Mobiriola, whatever it is, with his background, it fits in very, very well. I'm sure being in Lagos, he must have done a little bit of the maritime sector of the Lagos. Lagos is a coastal town.
Right.
So I think in that particular sector, yes, it makes a lot of sense. And it was at the helm of affairs.
Right. In the transport sector.
In the transport sector.
Right. So let's take that to another level. So where should we be focusing on with this new administration? Because the maritime sector is very broad. You talk about the blue economy as a broad spectrum.
Yes, it is.
But where should we begin to pick the nut to fix the bits and pieces so that we can get a holistic view?
Usually this sort of thing, it's not fair for me to say it in public. Are you getting my point? Right. Before I have a face-to-face conversation, with the new man. He probably will not need to be told. You get my point? It's when he has acted, because if I say he should be going here, if it be he's following what I said. Are you getting my point?
Right.
That will take a shine from what he already wanted to do. That is how I see it. But be that as it may, I will say something that is very important. Put round pegs in round holes. Put round pegs in round holes. Put square peg in square holes. When you politicize places that are strategically very important, you destroy the place, no matter the knowledge you yourself have. The people you put there cannot do it. You kill. I remember when I have to do a rationalization of staff. People who should be up were down according to some political. You know what I mean? I have to rationalize. It should look at so that the people is going to work with. It's not going to work alone. It's got to work with staff, and that it should make sure that this staff look at him and see him as a father. That they can say, "Daddy, how are you?" Are you getting my point?
All right.
That is when you say daddy and father is not the same. Daddy is superior to father. Daddy is somebody that you believe have the interest of every one of his children at heart. That is the beginning. The beginning is psychological. You can destroy the place by making guitar games or promoting people that should be here into there. Are you getting me? To fulfill certain politics. I've been there and I've seen something worse than that. You know, people. And sometimes when you want to correct it, you create another problem. Are you getting me?
Right.
The person that was there before is used to eating. Nigerians think of eat. I want him to think of, the only thing I give him is not what he should do technically. He knows what to do because he is the one sitting on it. I'm not the one having the files. No matter how brilliant I am. Don't forget I left the place 25 years ago. Right. So the files are new. The bent, the direction are also new. Are you getting my point? So Moberola is Moberiola. That's better because Moberola, everybody likes Ola to come. So the point that is Moberiola is praying for wealth. Well, the point I'm trying to say is that charity begins with the team you have. Make sure they look at you and see you as somebody they can come to. Whether they are Fulani, are you getting me? Whether they are Hausa, whether they are Yoruba, whether they are Igbo, whether they are anybody. But they know that even if there was a time I have to sack one of my cousins when I was director of administration, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
He did something, was employed. Till tomorrow he has not forgiven me. I said there is evidence that you were using the vehicle of the organization in a wrong way, and I have to sack him. You know what I'm saying? So he's a driver, not a driver. But the attitude should bring attitude of rectitude. And you see healing and you see production, and they will give you ideas. Some of the boys there, the Maritime we read at Liverpool, some of them maybe new ideas have come up. You know what I mean? You will see people give you ideas that will make you remembered forever. You see me calling on my boss. My boss was a Maritime person. He was actually a staff of NNSL. But he lived in England as their head. You know what I'm saying? And he could bring that to Nimasa at the time. And we all felt his help. He guided us. We brought our technical knowledge. Some of us will bring it, with the verve of a fantastic, brilliant man, carrying all these degrees. When in school in England, you have a chartered member of, of this, the other. Right. But the point being, let him make himself be seen to be for everybody. All
right. So, in taking this home now, yes. What would be the message to those who are administrators, those who have been appointed, and of course, even for us to get it right generally?
It is very important for them. Their first assumption must be that the man has come to work. Once you assume that he come to work, you give him the best. What are you? If you don't give him the best, you diminish yourself. People should learn to move away from looking for money. I once said something here, which I saw the lady in your team, they smiled, they wondered, I said, there is nothing wrong in not being rich. Nothing, absolutely. In fact, you'll probably be more healthy. I'm not going to go beyond that because this is a philosophy that you will discover by yourself. Usually a lot of people died in this country because they become unbelievably wealthy with money they don't really need. Are you getting me? Guide the staff to know that we've come to work. I want them to get the mentality of a man called Olabisi Akinfe. He was then the director of operations. Are you getting me? And I was his assistant. And we will work in the office till 10 in the night. We didn't complain. You know what I mean? I used to sleep in the office in the morning, bucket, you bath with bucket. Today, if you go there, you see puffed up staff who doesn't know who is who. You know what I mean? Let them go to this. I'm sure the president himself will be very delighted. He could help the president a lot by being the one that, the OT of Abia State, to be the OT, you know what I mean?
Right.
That of the establishment of Tinubu, what brings down presidents are the appointees. But in this particular case, I think he appointed a round peg, at least by experience, right. Round peg in a round hole. But he has to have a good mentality. If his mentality is warped, God will bend him. Are you getting my point? God has a way. God will live in the presence. I'm somebody that thinks of God all the time. We live in a place where God is there, but we think we can trick him because we need this. You know what I mean? And all that. He knows. If you don't do it the way that it is this, if you don't do it like that. Akinfe once gave me a query, and the staff were saying, what you form any query? Nobody thought I was an Igbo man. Are you getting my point? What you form? That is, if he can give query to this man, he will kill all of us. But he gave me a query because he thought I was wrong. When I made the explanation, he said, she's suffering. Why don't you tell me? Why didn't you let me know? Right. Are you getting me? And I let him know, and he went to the chairman then, I think for this, and said, look, this is this. I said, is that so? This is the thing that was given. I was giving a lecture. I wrote a lecture. I didn't say, speak for this. And I went and gave a lecture. You know what I mean? So that is just it. Right. My advice to him, once again, is to let the people believe that they've got a father. It's very, very important. You know what I'm saying? He will be surprised. In fact, he will love the work more than whatever the work comes with. God bless you.
All right, then. Thank you so much for speaking with us.
Thank you so much.
Nigerian Shippers Council, they to serve you well. No matter the problem, we go solve them for you.
Yes, so the Nigerian Shippers Council, they feel in a parole now for every level. And as soon as goods, they move from port A, go enter port B with a measure within on a needle. For the Nigerian Shippers Council, we don't sharp proper to fit hear you wella, work with you wella, and help you fit serve your customers them better, no matter where them day. As we country port economic regulator, the Nigerian Shippers Council get every now to fit make government consider the problem where shippers them they face. Visit we office for number 4 or to buy your daily show your daily. Papa, email us for nsc@shipperscouncil.gov.ng. We website now www.shipperscouncil.gov.ng. Allow us on top 0818-888-8895 or 0703-584-6468. Nigerian Shippers Council with a meeting for the port of Nanir.
All right, then. So that was our interesting chat with John Egesi, who is a former Director General of the Nigerian Maritime Authority, now NIMASA. And of course, you heard all he had to say on the potentials of the blue economy, plus the apex regulator and the DG who's in charge right now. So we have to go. Flash update coming in from the control room says that impediment of a broken down container laden truck having gas problem on a coal bridge has been cleared up, so it's much better now driving through that corridor. We have to go. The program has been produced by Dayo Anthony. I say a big thank you to Rebecca Adamu, who is Assistant Director Public Relations for the Nigerian Shippers Council. In the studios this morning, Toluwa Lashe Isiaka and Deborah Ademola. I thank both of you. Also, our social media unit, we do appreciate Okwemi Shodunke and Deborah Bolideoku. Our executive producer is Taya Conley. Connect with the Shippers Council on all their platforms at NG Shippers. My name is Victor Oteri. Have a great day. Bye.